Hi, my name's Regan. I'm part of the team here at the Junction Church, Loughborough. And we just wanted to provide you some top tips from Loughborough, Leicester and Nottingham students or recent graduates, where they're going to share on some of their experience from their times at university. I'm here with the wonderful Ketsia. Ketsia, I know for me, sometimes during my time at university, it was a real challenge making sure I'm budgeting well and managing my finances. What would your top tips be for that?
Okay, so my top tips for budgeting and managing your finance is, first of all, practice stewardship. So what I mean by stewardship is it's like a form of managing your finance. As a Christian, like I believe in Christian stewardship. And if you ever need any help on like that and tips and stuff, the best place to check out is Junction Church. I know like there's a course that runs sometimes that will help you with stewardship, and of course that's something we teach. But just something that I've taken from stewardship is to make sure that like you break down your finance, like how much is coming in, and divide it into different sections. So I know for me, my first two priorities, my first thing is tithing, and then afterwards it's making sure all my bills are paid, like the bills that if I don't pay, my housing will be affected, like my food will be affected, just everything that's centered around making sure that like I'm able to function in uni. And then afterwards, if I have money left, savings is super important. Whether it's a rainy day saving or just saving for like holidays, it's so important, because as a university student, you're going to want to go on holidays. You got a lot of time to kill, so might as well make sure you prioritize saving. And also just having like a budget section that will allow you to be generous as well. Like being able to practice generosity can only function from a place of having. So if you don't have, don't worry about like being generous with your finance in that sense, but you can be generous with other things. But if you're able to bless other people with your finance, try having a little budget for generosity. And then my last thing would be just anything else. So whether that's like a nice top or whether that's like going out with friends and stuff like that, like that's when I have that money left over. And being a good steward means being able to say no to those type of things. If it means having to like get rid of Apple Pay on your phone, or seeing something you really, really like and thinking, oh, do I have like money for that? And then seeing, oh, I do actually have money, but have I done like my like checks of like, oh, what needs to get paid for? Or if you see it, my rule is if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it once. And once again, as you mentioned, managing finance can be super hard at uni. You never know what's going to happen. Emergencies do occur. But what I would definitely recommend is letting someone you know that can help you. So whether that's your university, whether it's a parent, whether it's a friend, just let somebody know that you're going through financial hardships. And especially with your university, you never know what support you can get from your university. I know some universities do like financial hardship funds, so make sure that you actually check out your website or speak to the financial advisor. And whether it's a friend or a parent, they're great for like, I guess, helping if they want to help, but also just giving you like verbal help as well, just giving you good advice and holding you accountable, especially if you're someone who does like to spend. I know for me, sometimes there's been times when I'm like, where did all this money go? And then I've spoken to someone and actually they've put me in check, like, girl, you need to stop with your Ubers and stuff like that. No, literally. So yeah, and make sure to get a side hustle or a part-time job. I really recommend those things. Of course, don't let it consume your study, but having a little money coming on the side, that can help when student finance isn't like as much as you want it.
Good. That's good. You're really encouraged. I feel like I've been just educated on how to deal with my finances as well. But I love what you said about tithing first. And then also leaving space for more generosity after that. I think that really shows like where your heart is. You know, where you put your treasure, that's where your heart will be also, it says in the Bible. So I think really prioritizing, like Ketsia said, you know, making sure we're tithing first because we're giving back to God, and then sort of anything else after that being for other stuff, but still leaving space for more generosity, I think really shows a good heart. So I think that's some great advice, and I'm sure they found that very helpful. I'm here with Imogen. Imogen's great, and she's a member of the Junction Church, Nottingham. We're aware that when you come to university, sometimes the campus can be big and it can feel really daunting in terms of how you're going to get around. So Imogen, what would your top tip be for transportation?
Well, I think Nottingham's quite good for transport. We've got the trams, we've got the buses. For students, you can purchase an academic year ticket as well. I think it's like just under £300 for the whole year, so that kind of saves money as well. I think that's the biggest thing, money and budgeting and things like that. So try and get the student tickets if you can. And also if you're a car driver, there's parking on campus. I'm at Clifton campus. There's parking on campus for that as well. And obviously with driving a car and things, parking in a city, especially as Nottingham, it's quite a big challenge. So I would say definitely look for the on-street parking. It tends to be a bit cheaper if you're budget friendly. And after 5 p.m, especially around the NTU City campus, it's free. So just in time for life group as well. There's some really nice places to walk around Nottingham, so I'd definitely recommend getting your steps in as well.
What would be your top tips for exams, studying and lectures?
Good question. Top tip for lectures, I would say choose what style works for you. Maybe for some modules, I like to do diagrams, I like to draw, I like to annotate, I like to do it on paper. But then for other modules, it's quite wordy. I like to look at the PowerPoint slides, I like to do it on my laptop. So I guess do what style works for you in your individual lectures. Focus on what you really love. There are lots of modules, some you might really like, some you might not like so much. My top tip for you is go deep in the modules that you really, really love. Don't neglect church. Don't neglect church. I've heard too many stories of people who say, it's exam period, I'm not coming to church, or I'm going to come and then leave straight away. Exactly, I agree. Actually, what I would suggest is get really good time management. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to work really, really hard so that on Sunday I come to church, I get into the presence of God. It's a breather for me. I get to come in, get surrounded by the Word of God, get some perspective, get around some really good people who are going to encourage you, and then stay afterwards for set down, stay for some food, leave your textbooks at the door, come and enjoy church on a Sunday. So don't neglect church during exam period.
Cindy, what would your top tips be on for people who are struggling with mental health and stress?
Well, I would say my top tip, well, there's going to be a lot of things stemming from it, but the main one is don't be afraid to get help, and you're not alone, genuinely. I'd say especially, not me, but genuinely on a serious note.
And don't get stressed out by bees.
Don't get stressed out by bees. But genuinely, at uni, you'll come across many different stresses, whether that's be personal, financial, and mental as well. And I'd say, especially on the sort of academic front, don't be afraid to get help from student support services, whether that be through your tutor, whether that be through LSU advice, whether that be just be emailing. There's always going to be someone at the uni, at the very least, that could pass you on, that can help you find the right resources. Especially because if you're struggling academically, there's uni, but the uni also helps with mental health as well. There's other services that they can support you with, and even external services that they can recommend you to. And another thing I'd say is just don't underestimate your community and the people that are with you. You know, you have your friends, you have your family, you have your church community, especially as Christians, whether that's your church community back home or one that you find here at Loughborough. There's always someone that's willing to help and willing to hear you out. So whichever one fits for you, 'cause I know not all people have access to all three, but pick that community that you know that you can rely on, that you can call for help, and just don't leave it too late. Genuinely don't leave it too late. Don't leave it till it's become worse. Just nip it in the bud. If you need help, get it straight. Even if it's the slightest hint of struggle, just ask for help. And I'd say one key thing as well that I found is that, I say kind of before you do all those things, but even while you're doing that, is pray. And that should actually be the first one. Before you go to any resources, before you ask even for like help pastorally and whatnot, is pray. Bring it to God. Cast all your anxieties onto God, and let Him know first, because God wants to have a relationship with us. He wants to have that personal relationship with us, and He wants to hear our issues or our problems, especially when there are tough times at uni. So definitely pray, and you'll find yourself that you'll have a better kind of mental and a better understanding of what to do next. Then you can go ahead and ask all the different resources. But definitely that. But ultimately, my best advice is you're not alone. Don't be afraid to ask for help, even at the first sign.
And there we have it, some invaluable advice from some great people at the Junction Church. We look forward to seeing you in September. Make sure you stay in touch with us and check out what we have going on through the social media page. We're believing for you in the season that you'll get where you want to be, and we're praying for you, and we hope to see you soon.